Hi everyone, what is up? It's Jolene from sunshinediary.com and I am so glad to have you back with me for another video. If you are new to my channel, this is basically just a place where I talk about personal organization, financial planning, and basically if you are out here trying to make boss moves, then I am here for it. I am here for you and I think we can do this thing together. This video in particular is going to be a bit of a follow-up to a previous video I did in my Let's Talk series of videos that is linked for you in the description box below if you want to check it out. But in that series of videos, I talked about geo-arbitrage and about the fact that if you want to spend less money, one of your options is actually to move away from where you're currently living. But one of the things that you'll have to do might be to find a job that lets you work from anywhere. And that's what today's video is going to cover. I'm going to give you 9 options for jobs that you could do from anywhere in the world. So if you want to move away, if you want to exercise geo arbitrage, or if you just want to become a digital nomad and change your lifestyle and see the world a little bit, these might be options that would work for you. Now, what I really like about the 9 job options that I have selected for you is that they are all things that you could essentially start today. They require pretty much no capital to begin, and they don't necessarily require any specific skill or degree either. Some of them do, but many of them are things that you could literally start right now and begin earning money immediately. So without further ado, let's just get straight into the video. Now, if you know anything about me, you know that the very first item that I'm going to put on this list is translation. I am a linguist, I am an interpreter most of the time, but I have also worked as a translator, and that is a job that is mostly done remotely. Even before the Rona hit the world, translators were already working remotely, working from their laptops, from cafes, from their homes, from offices that weren't necessarily centralized, and it's actually been one of the advantages of translation. For instance, if you want to get a translation done and you live in New York and you want to get something translated into French, one of the advantages of using a translator who's not actually in New York is that your translator might be in France and on a different time zone, so they might be able to work while you sleep. So this is something that is definitely not new, and if you speak different languages, if you don't mind kind of getting a little bit of training, because it's not something that you should just dive into, I absolutely recommend that you get a little bit of training first at the very least. But translation is an option that you can consider if you want to do a job from pretty much anywhere in the world. The next option would be for you to think about opening an online store. Now, this can be something like just an Amazon store. You sell products on Amazon. You could do drop shipping. I have to admit, I don't know a whole lot about drop shipping. If you know about it, do comment below and kind of let us know how that works. I have a vague idea, but I have heard really good things about it in any event, so that's something you can consider. But if you also have a skill, if you are crafty, for instance, you can open a shop on Etsy, you can build your own website and sell your own products online. That's absolutely something that is not dependent on your location. As long as you have an internet connection and there is a post office near where you live, you can open an online store. Now, another option that you might not actually have considered would be to run an Airbnb experience. This is something that I encountered for the first time when I traveled to South Africa. For a significant part of my trip, I was on my own and there was no one there to sort of take pictures to prove that I was there. Like, I was taking lots of pictures of the scenery, of course, but I wasn't in any of them. So I opted to hire a photographer who was running an Airbnb experience. I think it was in Cape Town. She would come and she would take you to see the sites, and she would also take pictures of you at those locations so that you had proof that you were there. So that's something that I really enjoyed, and really all it takes is for you to be in a place where you kind of know your way around, which can happen in a matter of a few weeks, and for you to have a good camera. And you could start that pretty much immediately. In your hometown right now, you could probably start running an Airbnb experience. An Airbnb experience can be all sorts of things. I have seen some popping up during the pandemic where there are people who are doing online courses in cooking Italian food or things like that. Things that don't actually require you to meet anyone in person, but there are people who will pay to take part in your Airbnb experience. And you could literally, like I said, start it today, and it requires pretty much no capital to start. If you want to teach a cooking course, literally all you need is your webcam, which you almost certainly have because you're watching this video on something, aren't you? So I'm pretty sure you have some device that has a camera, and your kitchen And there you go, you can begin. Now, in the same vein as that last example, something that you can consider that would allow you to work from anywhere in the world would be online tuition. This is also something that I have dabbled in. I am not really trying to talk to you about anything that I haven't strongly considered myself or that I don't know really works. So I know for a fact that online tuition is something that can allow you to make a pretty good income, especially if you can teach a subject that is in high demand. And you can do this from anywhere as long as, like I've said before, you have an internet connection. And I have taught languages online, but I know that you can also teach math, you can teach video editing, you can teach, like I said with the Airbnb experience, you can teach people how to cook. There are all sorts, and there are platforms that are designed specifically for this, so you don't have to go and hunt for your own clients. You can just join a platform and begin teaching online today. The fifth option that I want to give you if you want to find a job that you can do from anywhere is to take and sell stock photos. Now, with these pictures, you could either be the photographer, or you could be the model, or you could be both. If you have a camera, you can begin today and you can start taking photos and uploading them on stock image websites and being paid for the use of your images. I know that I use stock photos all the time, and I have found it sometimes hard to find a stock image of a woman who looks like me doing something, or a stock image of somebody in a specific part of the world that maybe not that many people go to, and so there are not many stock images of it. You never know what people are looking for. People look for all sorts of things when they need stock photos, and you might be able to fill a gap. So if you enjoy photography, this is absolutely something that I would recommend, and you could move to pretty much anywhere and continue selling your stock photos online. You could also think about becoming a virtual assistant. This is what I think might be a growing market. I think there are a lot of people out there who need an assistant, but maybe don't need an assistant to work a 9 to 5, 5 days a week. They need an assistant part of the time, and so they hire a virtual assistant for a set number of tasks or a set number of hours per day, and you don't actually have to be where they are, but you do their scheduling for them, you do their emails for them and their correspondence, you might call them and give them reminders of things, but you don't actually have to physically be present where they are. So that's something that I think is a good idea. If that's the kind of thing that you are interested in, it doesn't require any specific qualifications, and it can actually wind up being a fairly stable gig. Now, speaking of gigs, the next thing that I want to talk about is potentially working on freelancing platforms. And I mentioned these in my Geoarbitrage video. So there are platforms like Fiverr and Upwork and so on, where you can pretty much offer any service. And when I say any service, I have seen people offering their services for writing birthday cards, or writing poems, writing speeches, writing eulogies, removing the background from pictures, or for editing videos. Anything you can do. You might be surprised at the number of people out there willing to pay for you to do it. So that's certainly something that is not limited by geography. You can do that anywhere in the world, once again, as long as you have an internet connection. And once again, you can start today for free. The eighth option that I'll mention, but this one I have to put an asterisk beside it because it's not as easy as it might initially appear, is actual content creation. So instead of curating content for someone else's platform, you can build your own platform. But as I said before, I think that this is not as easy as it might initially appear. And I say that because it's best not to rely on something like that for an income unless you already have a following, unless you already have people who are willing to subscribe to your channel, or who are willing to read your blog or follow you on Instagram, because this is not something that is necessarily a business that you can just dive in immediately and make money. What's good is that, like I said at the start, this is something that doesn't require a huge capital investment from the beginning, but it can be pretty iffy in terms of being a reliable source of income. So I just wanted to make that clear. But it's definitely something that I know a lot of people are currently doing, and it is allowing them to live that digital nomad lifestyle. The ninth job that I'd like to suggest that you can do from absolutely anywhere is coaching or consulting. Maybe you know a lot about a specific field and you can guide other people who are new to that field and help them build their influence, build their platform, build their business in some way. That's something that you can do over the phone. You can do that in messages, you can do that via email, and you can do that via online video or on Zoom. You don't actually have to be where the person is to provide coaching or consulting services. But these are services that are often in very, very high demand, and they're also often very well paid. So if there is something that you know that you can share, you can begin to advertise yourself as a coach or as a consultant and start raking in the business and work from anywhere. So now that I've given you all of those options, I'm really curious. Which one would you go for? Would you try to open an online store? I feel like that might be one of the ones that I would do. Or would you do consulting or coaching online? Are you a linguist? Could you become a translator and work from anywhere in the world? Or would you try your luck at the whole social media thing? Let me know in the comments below. Also, if you have any other ideas of something that you could do to earn money from anywhere in the world that doesn't require too much initial investment, absolutely let us know in the comments as well so everyone can benefit. I'm super curious to find out. I try really hard to fill my channel with interesting and useful content, so it means so much to me that you are still here at the end of this video. If you have enjoyed this video, please do consider giving it a thumbs up. It is absolutely free. It takes 2 seconds and it helps my channel tremendously. If you're not already subscribed, I would love if you would consider subscribing so that you never miss another video from me. In any event, thank you so much for having watched this video, and I can't wait to see you in my next one. Bye.
Time moves on, and now you're gone.